Wow, fantastic, baby.
Attire. It looks so pretty. This man is one of the kings in the Joseon dynasty. Well, let me greet him. Looking at these luxurious royal items, I can really feel the dignity of Korean kings. I've heard that the royal culture of Korea made a great advance in Seoul. In Seoul, you can find traditional and cutting-edge culture happening side by side. Seoul was the capital of Joseon dynasty for 500 years. And so you can still see the traces of royal culture happening here in Seoul. Let's go on a journey to seek out the hidden secrets of Seoul, a place where both the past and present coexist.
The history of the Joseon dynasty, which lasted for 500 years on the Korean peninsula, coexists with the glittering high-rise buildings lining the capital city of Seoul. The remains of fortress walls from the Joseon era can be found scattered around the city, demonstrating its long service as the capital.
Within modern Seoul City as we know it, remain city boundary walls built 500 years ago to surround what was then known as Hanyang City. By visiting this area, one truly gets a taste of the royal era from that time.
Located in central Seoul, Changdeok Palace is an exceptional example of palace architecture and design, blending harmoniously with the surrounding gardens. The palace was listed as a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site in 1997. There is another site where you can get a closer look at the spatial layout of a residence and the style of cooking from Joseon. In an old house constructed more than 500 years ago by a descendant of King Sejong the Great, the fourth ruler of the Joseon dynasty, royal court cuisine of the era is being revived based on in-depth historical research.
신선로라는 틀이고요. 원래 명칭은 열구자탕이라고 하는 거고요. 이제 이 열매는 이제 불수술 이제 넣어가지고 오랫동안 따뜻함을 지속되게 하기 위해서요.
오늘 처음 봅니다.
아 예. 이제 여기를
The rules of royal cooking were strictly defined in terms of the types, number, and arrangement of dishes on the table. One of the most widely known royal cuisine dishes, shinseollo, was generally served at court banquets. It is boiled meat stock with vegetables and mushrooms in a special cooking pot with holes. It is then served on top of a burner. All the finest regional delicacies were introduced to the palace, so the royal meals boast a wide assortment of ingredients. The reason why shinseollo is placed at the center of the table is that the blend of ingredients in the pot symbolizes the harmonization of different opinions and political interests.
신선로는 재료가 육류라든가 야채라든가 해물이든가 여러 가지가 함께 어우러져 가지고 맛을 내는데 화합을 의미하는 음식이에요. 그래서 반드시 중요한 궁중 연회에는 빠지지 않고 꼭 제일 먼저 중앙에 올라갑니다.
The wishes of the kings to work in concert for the good of the people and enjoy a banquet are perfectly reflected in 신설로.
어떻게 한 그릇 안에서 다 같이 요리하지만 다 생선, 고기, 채소 다 원래 있었던 맛이 살고 있습니다.
네.
여성들이 이거 먹으면 되게 건강됩니다.
Meals at the royal court were prepared with ingredients sent by the people of each region. The king was able to see how well his people were living through his meals. In lean years, he would reduce the number of side dishes. The seemingly extravagant meals of the court were in fact a reflection of sharing by the royal family.
오늘 많이 배웠고 이렇게 깊은 역사 있는 식사 먹으면 되게 감사한 마음이 있어요.
Behind Changdeok Palace lies the Huwon, or rear garden. Here, every building is in perfect harmony with nature. There is a special variety of rice cake that perfectly synchronizes with the name of the palace, which means Palace of Prospering Virtue.
임금님께서 이렇게 옛날에 이렇게 생신날 그날 드셨던 두텁떡을 한번 같이 해보려고 해요. 이렇게
Rice is the staple of the Korean diet, particularly in the Joseon period. People shared rice cakes called tteok with their neighbors on special occasions. Among these, duteop-tteok was a celebratory royal food that was served on the birthdays of king. White bean powder and a variety of nuts and fruits, including yuzu, chestnuts, jujubes, and pine nuts, are mixed and placed inside sweet rice and then steamed to create duteop-tteok. It's a rare food that takes a lot of time and energy. On king's birthdays, plentiful amounts of duteop-tteok were prepared to be served at the banquet tables, and the leftovers were shared by all the members of the palace.
너무 아름답습니다. 그리고 맛있겠습니다.
네.
It looks simple, but it's very nutritious. One piece of the tteok is enough to fill your stomach.
한 가지 맛 안 있고 조금씩 여러 가지 새로운 맛도 살고 있고 고소하고 살짝 달콤하지만 너무 달콤하지 않습니다.
맞아요.
Duteop-tteok symbolizes one role required of a king, sharing food with as many people as possible.
대단하다.
네.
최고!
최고.
Right in the center of Seoul is the only site where you can experience the atmosphere of the Joseon dynasty on a rickshaw.
directly connected to the palace's outer walls.
Bukchon Hanok village is a traditional neighborhood with a long history. The area was customarily the residential district for high-ranking government officials and the nobility. About 900 Hanok houses have been well preserved to create a 600-year-old urban environment attracting crowds of visitors interested in Korean history and culture. As you wander around the area, you can encounter another traditional taste of Korea. Seolleongtang is one of Koreans' favorite dishes. It's a Korean broth made from ox bones, brisket, and other cuts of meat, simmered over a low flame for over 10 hours. It is normally eaten together with rice and noodles. One of the most widely known origins of royal food relates to ancestral sacrifice. In the Joseon dynasty, Korean kings regularly made national sacrifices at the Seonnongdan, meaning the altar for the sacrifices to venerated farmers. After the king prayed for a good harvest at the altar, he shared the soup with the people of Joseon.
맛있게 보입니다.
여기다가 말아서 먹기도 하고요. 국수가 같이 있고 국수. 스파게티 먹는 거 같이 이렇게 말아서 스푼을 이렇게 얹어서.
설렁탕 reflects the wishes of the king to keep his people from starving.
진짜 생각보다 설렁탕 심플? 좀 복잡한 식사 아니지만 너무 맛있습니다. 진짜 건강입니다.
Korean royal court cuisine contains some important messages, a sense of harmony within fascinating delicacies, and affection for the people, expressed through unpretentious cuisine.